Welcome friends, we are back for another really interesting chamber strings ensemble library from our friends over at Sonixinema. This library features 8 violins, 4 violas, and 4 celli. Clocking in at just over 14 gigabytes in size, it requires the full version of Contact. Let's check out how it sounds. So as you can see, there's a lot that you can do with it. Let's check out the interface. So basically the interface revolves around these 5 articulations: undulating, emotive, pulsing, wind trills, and fragments. And I'll play each of those for you so you can hear how it sounds. There are a host of presets that you can fool around with. There are designed presets, which are really good. There are pairs, so they match up 2 articulations at a time. And there are singles. In each articulation, we have a switch where you can activate only 1, or you can have 2 at a time, 3 at a time. Okay, so any combination. You can also activate these via key switch, if that's your preferred way of working, depending on the size of your keyboard. In each of the articulations, you have a volume slider and a left and right. And you can also click on here and you can change any of the articulations in each slot. So really customizable just in this area. And then here, if we click on character, there's some additional toggles that you can do to change the sound. We got haze, dream state, flickers, stargazing, apocalypse. You can toggle each one of these on and off. You can control the volume, or you can solo and mute. Okay, so that's a whole other host of features that you can do, and I'll demonstrate that. You can click the character on and off, and you can control the overall amount of character that you're going to add to your signal chain. Then we have our global controls. We have this proximity slider, okay, which is actually the same slider. If we click on mix, they just give you kind of a quick toggle to change your mic mix. And we have 4 positions: close, mid, far, and ambient, so you can really dial in your sound. Over here, this controls a pre-selected engineer design mix. Going back to the global controls, we have high pass, low pass, stereo control. You have your dynamics control, which is mapped to CC1, and expression, which is mapped to CC11. So you can really dial in your sound that way. You got your reverb, we got some lo-fi, delay, some additional settings. You can click on a host of reverbs here. We have some EQ, and we have attack, decay, sustain, release. That's just in this first panel. If we click on the mapping section, say I wanted to add one of these other textures. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. I'm going to have a little bit of overlap. So if I start in this lower region, I can start with the undulating texture, and then as I move up, we can add the emotive. So let's see what that sounds like. So you can really customize a lot of controls. If you want to get some pulses in there, see, the further up we go, we're going to just kind of keep adding more. Let's have a little bit of overlap here. All right, we're going to start in the lower part, undulating. We're going to move up into the emotive, and then we're going to add pulsing. Let's see what that sounds like. So it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more that you do it. So as you toggle these switches on and off, they're also toggling the articulations on and off in this page. So you can actually do quite a bit just from this window, depending on what you want to do in terms of mapping. I can see this being particularly useful for like live use. If you really want to dial in your articulations and have them at certain sections of the keyboard to really build a performance, that'd be very, very useful. Then we have a sequencer. So if we click on this, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely love sequencers. You can get a lot done very, very quickly. You can draw in the pattern that you want. You can change your rhythm, width, strength. Okay, randomize controls. Let's do random. Let's try another one. Very, very useful for just getting that rhythm riding underneath the track, which I do all the time. Then we have some built-in presets down here where you can dial in specific rhythms. My favorite preset out of all of them is called Add Piece. That's the one I've loaded up right now. You can actually toggle off all of these articulations, but then you can still play the characters on their own. I'm going to shut off the mic. We're going to play each of these articulations one at a time, and then we're going to play each of the characters one at a time so you can really hear what you can do with that. Between selecting articulations and selecting characters, there's a whole bunch of combinations that you could do. I can't do the math, but there's a lot. This composition is featuring only sounds from this library. I changed the colors just to make it a little bit more interesting. This is called Kinetic. Let's check this out. Just very soft in the background, just to kind of set the mood. Preset's called Echoes. Let's check this out. Then we have that same sound, but then I fooled around with a gate so we could get a little rhythm going on. So let's check this out. A little bit of EQing, a little bit of saturation, and I turned the reverb all the way off just to kind of clean it up a little bit. Just because it's a rhythmic part, I didn't want it to be too muddy. You can use only the characters. Okay, so I called it Dream State Haze. So if we click on it, all of the articulations are turned off. But if you can see, I have Haze and Dream State selected and none of the other ones. So then you get a kind of cool sound like this. Let's check it out. Then we have the At Peace patch. That's the first one that I showed you. This is my favorite one. Sounds particularly good with the chili down there, just deep and dark. And then what I did was I layered their contours preset on top of that, which has a little bit more kind of high-end information. I played that up a little bit higher on the keyboard. Let's check that out. So that's going to cut through the mix a little bit more. And then we have something called Lost Boy just at the very end. It's funny, I was looking for something to end the composition. I made it to the last preset and it was called The End. So that's where I put it. So maybe I'll just play these two together. You can hear what they sound like. With that Lost Boy is I add a little bit of saturation, a little EQ scoop, and just a tremolo, just so that it bounces around between left and right. It's practically buried in the mix. You'll hear it less, but you'll feel it more. So who is this for? If you love the chamber sound like I do, and you're looking for articulations that are a little bit outside of the box, in a really good interface that you can really tweak and mess around with. I think there's a lot you can do with this library. I love the gate sequencer. I love the fact that you can really dial in all those characters and mess around with the articulations and come up with sounds and ideas really, really quickly. If I had one complaint in the character slider, I found those solo and mute buttons so tiny. I feel like I just can barely click them. This little switch up there, and I know that I'm being so nitpicky here, but I prefer to just kind of select the articulation. If I want more than one, maybe I can shift click and select a couple of articulations. Now that I'm done being nitpicky, what do I think? I think it sounds friggin' fantastic. I think the first patch I loaded up was At Peace, and I couldn't stop playing it. It sounds absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot you can do with this. Sonixinema has a couple of freebies that they just put out, which I did a couple of reviews on, so be sure to check those out. That's it for me. Happy composing. Catch you in the next one.